What's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Left Turns Only. My name's Tyler. I'm going to be your host, and to kick it off, we're going to be recapping last week's Las Vegas race. First thing we want to talk about with this Las Vegas race, so we're a few weeks in now. Clint Bowyer is a treasure on commentary. Perfect fit. I'm loving him on commentary. The chemistry that him and Jeff Gordon have in the booth together, plus the fact that they're playing up their history, with their little scuffle back in 2012. Absolutely love Clint Bowyer on commentary. I think he's killing it, and they couldn't have picked a better person. It reminds me a lot of when Dale Jr. retired and then went to the commentary booth, and he surprised everybody and became just an incredible broadcaster. So I guess it can happen sometimes. You can be, just a great racer. You have no idea if this person could be a great broadcaster, and then they are. Dale Jr., like I said, set the example a few years ago. And Bowyer's continuing that trend. And I hope he's in the booth for a long time because I'm absolutely loving him. So we've got a sold-out capacity COVID crowd at Las Vegas. It's great to see. Always like to see, when we can be safe with COVID protocols and have, a sellout crowd somewhere. A lot more limited capacity at these races. So it's still great to see that, the race was sold out. So Kevin Harvick started at the front. You can see I've got the Stewart-Haas sweatshirt on, got the Kevin Harvick hat. So you know my thoughts on it. Kevin Harvick started awful, pretty bad throughout the middle of the race, and finished pretty bad too. So I really hated to see it, but he did not have a great day, especially from starting on the pole. Someone who was having a great stage one though, Ryan Blaney was absolutely on fire in stage one. He was making a ton of great progress. He was having a super fast car. I think if there wasn't the competition caution, he not only would have led a little bit at least of stage one, I think he easily could have won stage one without that competition caution. I think his momentum was stalled out a little bit when they threw out the competition caution, which really sucks to see because I really like Ryan Blaney, and I think he could have absolutely won stage one. He was just on it towards the end of stage one before they threw out that competition caution. But he, needless to say, did not win stage one. We had a ton of lead changes in stage one, though, and kind of throughout the race, there were a lot of lead changes, so it definitely kept things interesting. Speaking of lead changes, one of those people who led laps, Michael McDowell. Is he going to have this dream season, out of nowhere? It's not looking awful for this guy. It's not looking like a one-off, like Daytona was a complete fluke. He's been consistent. Like I said, he led laps then. So Michael McDowell could really surprise us all and, make a good playoff run. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that, but that's exciting to see. So we move on to stage two. Kyle Larson wins stage two after a fairly dominant performance in stage two. So, we see what happened with that later on in the race. Pretty much all of Stewart-Haas was struggling through this race. Pretty much the entire team as a whole not doing great. High expectations going in, and like I said, the team as a whole was just doing awful. One of those guys, one of the Stewart-Haas guys, Eric Almirola, he had a tire go down. And it kind of continues the woes that Stewart-Haas had for the entire day. So once again, it kind of echoes what the rest of the team was experiencing the entire day when he had that tire go down. Then we get this great back and forth battle between Truex and Hamlin. So it's two teammates, two veterans, two guys with high expectations and, pretty decent sized fan bases. And I think a lot of people, even if they're not a fan of either one, if that's not their favorite driver, they have a pretty strong opinion of them either way. I definitely do about Denny Hamlin, but that's for another video. But, I think that was interesting to see. It was cool to see a good back and forth battle, especially between teammates. It always makes things a little more interesting. All right, so throughout this race, because it was Las Vegas, they had a theme commercial, and the theme was DJs. So they had Jeff Gordon and Clint Bowyer in this, club setting where Jeff Gordon was the DJ, and it was going, kind of Bowyer was giving him a hard time about being the DJ. But I thought these were absolutely hilarious. I don't know what it was. These guys have just got chemistry together. They have this natural chemistry in their entertainment stuff, whether it be the commercials or be in the broadcast booth. So I thought these were hilarious, and I hope they do more stuff like this in the upcoming races because I want to see more Jeff Gordon and Clint Bowyer content like this. So also this week, Kyle Busch was sponsored by a premium M&M's candy that they make in Las Vegas. It's his hometown. So maybe that's why he has the M&M's sponsored too. I don't know if M&M's are a Vegas-based thing, but they said they make this premium candy in Vegas. Anybody else not know that was a thing? Anybody else not know that M&M's had a premium candy? Because I really want to try this now that I know it's out there and I know that it exists. And I think Bowyer made a a comment on it in the booth. He was like, I always thought M&Ms themselves were a premium candy. But I had no idea that M&Ms had a premium candy. And, they threw on the Kyle Busch sponsor, which I guess that's the point of sponsors, to raise awareness about a product. And M&Ms did it successfully, for me at least. So looking at other teams, kind of the opposite of Stewart-Haas. So Joe Gibbs' cars finished pretty much as good as you can finish without winning the actual race. Obviously, it was a Hendrick car that won the race. But, Joe Gibbs, all those guys finished, right up there at the top. So Joe Gibbs Racing, even though you didn't pick up the win, that team has to be super satisfied with how all their guys finished. So, Joe Gibbs out there killing it last week. So let's go to our winner, Kyle Larson. He had 9 second-place finishes on mile-and-a-half tracks, and he won this race. His first win on a mile-and-a-half track. It's his 7th career win, and we kind of all know the story about what happened last season with Kyle Larson. Even with all the controversy with what went on last season, Rick Hendrick, I guess, still believed in him, believed that he was still a guy that could win races and be a powerful force, and I guess that he was proven right with this because, he picks up his 7th career win. So Kyle Larson, like I said, wins that race. All right, let's move forward on to Phoenix. So we're going to be in Phoenix this week, and I think myself, like a lot of other people, when you think of Phoenix, we talked about Jeff Gordon and Clint Bowyer earlier. That's the first thing that comes to mind is the Jeff Gordon-Clint Bowyer fight after the 2012 Phoenix race. So Jeff Gordon and Clint Bowyer had been kind of getting each other back and forth. So it's, one would get the other, and then the other would pay them a receipt. They would get them back. So eventually, it comes playoff time, and they're at Phoenix, and Jeff Gordon had enough of Clint Bowyer and, took him out. And then that ended probably a long shot playoff run for Clint Bowyer. He was in the playoffs, but would he have actually won the championship that season? Very doubtful. But still, it doesn't matter. He was in the playoffs, and Gordon took him out. This is a weird stain on Jeff Gordon's career because it's unprofessional that he did that, and it's really out of character for Jeff Gordon to do something like that. A guy who's won, multiple championships and is kind of like the epitome of professionalism, for 95% of his career. Very weird that he would make a move like that, or a controversial and super unprofessional move. And it's one of the very few, I guess, stains on Jeff Gordon's career as a NASCAR driver. Other than that, obviously he's one of the all-time best drivers, has one of the all-time best careers. But yeah, it's just weird. That's all I can say. Very out of character for Jeff Gordon. So, and then obviously, after he's taken out, the crews start getting into it, and then Clint Bowyer has his infamous sprint. And if you've not seen it before, look it up. I'm sure NASCAR's talking about it this week. Look up his sprint. For anyone that says NASCAR drivers aren't athletes, I want you to look at the cardio that Clint Bowyer had in 2012. It's just out of this world sprints to try to get to Jeff Gordon, and it's an infamous, pull apart. It's a knockdown, drag out between the whole crews, and it's one of those times where, like, if they had just let him go, I can't imagine the bruises and cuts and scars that would have came out of that fight, because there was so much pent-up anger on both parts had been built up for that entire season pretty much. And then to have, Bowyer's championship run in like that, it would have been epic. It would have been, shades of the fight from the first ever televised Daytona 500, I think, at least. But it's really great now to see that hostility isn't there between them. It's obvious they're, able to kind of be buddies and laugh and joke and kind of like take friendly shots at each other in the commentary booth. And I think it's great. I think they knew what they were doing putting them together in the commentary booth. They knew that they had that history. Fans were going to remember that. And I think it's absolutely working great. So, Keselowski's on the pole. He's won there before, but I don't think Keselowski's going to win this week. I think the all-time winner there is Kevin Harvick. Not only is Kevin Harvick the all-time winner there, he's also the all-time lap leader and has the most top fives of anybody. So, prediction coming this week, favorite driver, number 4, Kevin Harvick. That's who we're predicting this week. I think he gets that 10th win and just adds to cementing his legacy as being the most dominant force that Phoenix has ever seen. So, that's my prediction. Kind of short and sweet. Don't have a whole lot else to say about the Phoenix race. The prediction that I can't wait to do, and I'm going to make an extra long video about it, is the Bristol Dirt race coming up. Once again, I said it in my last video, I couldn't tell you the last time I've been this excited for a race. So I'm enjoying the races every week, but right now in my mind, it's just I'm trying to get through the next couple races so we can get to this Bristol dirt race and see chaos unfold. Bristol itself, hands down, it's the best track. It's the most entertaining track consistently year after year. I don't know why they don't just put the All-Star race there full time. I kind of like the idea of the All-Star race rotating for sure. But if you had to pick a track, send it to Bristol. The Bristol All-Star race would be a huge draw. And I think we saw how excited people were for it last year. I mean, it helps a lot that Chase Elliott won too. But I think, I would love to have it there more often because it's always such an entertaining race. And it's been an entertaining race for decades. It's super consistent. People always complain about, there's an excess of 1.5-mile tracks. I mean, why? I don't understand why we're not doing more short tracks in NASCAR, because that's what I think the fans love. That obviously, we enjoy seeing the super speedways too, just because it's such horsepower and so fast and such, it's just fast. It's the only way I can describe it. So it's incredible to watch those cars go, 4 wide, take a turn at, 190 miles an hour. We saw this week NASCAR has announced that they've got a partner. They've got several partnerships. I think it's through Bruton Smith, and then I think Dale Jr. is involved too, where Dale Jr. is really passionate about getting older tracks that aren't being used anymore and bringing them back. We're going to see the Nashville Fairgrounds come back, so that'll be cool. That'll be, I think it's perfect. And I think with projects like this, it's only a matter of time before Bruton Smith. I would think Bruton Smith would be the one to do it. I don't know who else would do it, but I think he's a perfect candidate to bring back North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro is coming back. I'm telling you right now, there is no way, after the hype and the love that it got, especially from Dale Jr., and obviously he's still got tons and tons of fans that follow whatever he does. I think after he talked about how important it was and how special it was, there's no way that North Wilkesboro is not going to be coming back the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an announcement at the end of this season or by next season that they're going to start restoring it. And what a track that we need to come back. The legacy of North Wilkesboro needs to be taught to this younger generation of fans too that have never seen a race there. I would absolutely love to see a race at North Wilkesboro in person. I think it would be great. And once again, the more short tracks we can get on the schedule, the better. I mean, I named this channel Left Turns Only. So let's trade some road courses out we've thrown on there. Let's take out the Daytona road course, for good, and let's add some more short tracks. That's just my opinion, though. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Once again, this week's prediction. Kevin Harvick goes in victory lane, and he's getting some solid lead time. I'm saying he's going to lead. It's not going to be like a quick, he passes on the last lap to get the win. He's getting solid lead time. He's end up in victory lane. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you watched, I'm making videos every single week where we're recapping the last race and we're previewing a little bit of the upcoming race. So, once again, if you liked what you watch, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Tyler, and I'll see you guys next week.